A beer would be good a beer would be good right about now. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, bro. A beer would be good right about now. An ice cold beer would be good about an ice cold beer would be good right about now. A flavored beer, please. Don't even get me started. Like, flavored beer is just nasty. Yeah, like, Little Critter is the only person I know that likes flavored beer. Yeah, Little Critter is the only person I know that likes flavored beer. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, bro. An ice cold beer would be good. An ice cold beer would taste good right about now. Yeah, an ice cold beer would taste good after a long day at work. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, bro. An ice cold beer, that would taste so good right now. That would taste like so good right about now. Whoa, back up, backing up. Yeah, you're right. Wait, stop at a light. I need to use my turn signal. Like, bro, have you ever seen bro, but what I want to know is what I want to know is why so many people on who travel by sea like are seeing what they claim is a megalodon. I mean, we know the megalodon did go extinct like 3.5 million years ago, which was like right before the first ancient humans started to appear. Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, yes. The first like the last known megalodon like God, short ass motherfucking life. My gosh. I mean, from what I understand, yes. The last known megalodon went extinct approximately 3.5 million years ago, which was like right before the first ancient humans appeared. From what I understand, yes. And again, this is during the Pleistocene eon. During the Pleistocene epoch, yeah. You know what I mean. This was like right before the first ancient humans appeared, yeah. Because, the first ancient humans were thought to have appeared around 2.5 to 2.7 million years ago. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be careful. I mean, all I know is like the first, from the fossil records we have, yes, the first modern humans appeared like 2.5, like 2.4 to 2.7 million years ago, and that's just from that's just from the records we have. Yes. Yeah, and that's again, you know, that's just, you know, that's just, from the records we have. Yeah, and again, these are just from the records we have. I mean, like, I know Little Critter heard one story from like a guy who, this guy who was like this guy who used to, this guy who used to, this guy who was a VHF radio operator, for Disney Cruise Line, this guy who was a Disney Cruise Line VHF radio operator from its inception in 1999 right up until the pandemic, and then this guy basically retired. This guy basically retired right when the pandemic shut everything down. And then right when like this guy was like a VHF radio operator for Disney Cruise Line for like 20 years until the pandemic shut everything until the pandemic shut everything down. And then but before that he was a VHF radio operator. But before that he actually spent another 10 years. He actually had spent another 10 years working for Carnival Cruise Line as a VHF radio, but for like 10 years before that, he had spent like another 10 years. But before that, he had spent like another 10 years. He has spent like another 10 years working as a VHF radio operator for Royal Caribbean International. Yeah, but before that, he had actually spent another 10 years working as a VHF radio operator for Royal Caribbean International. So, and like, this guy said that like, right when he retired in 2020, that when he retired from the maritime business in 2020, that like when he decided to retire from the maritime business in 2020, it was this Miami-Dade native who had decided to retire, who had spent like 30 years in the maritime business, who had spent 30 years in the maritime business, working, who had spent 30 years in the cruise ship industry, who had spent 30 years working as a VHF radio operator on cruise ships, um, 10 years, 10 years for Royal Caribbean International, and then another 20 years for Disney Cruise Line, and then right when the pandemic shut every, and then right before the pandemic, and then right when the pandemic shut everything down, he decided to take his retirement. But basically, but basically by that time he had saved up enough money. He had saved up enough money from his retirement to buy himself a nice big luxury yacht for him and his family. And now what he does is he sails around the Caribbean in this nice big luxury yacht with his family. And he says from time to time he'll he'll be looking at he'll from time to time he'll he'll be manning the VHF radio on his luxury yacht, and he'll be up on the bridge of his yacht, and his oddly enough his first mate is actually his grandson is actually his 14-year-old grandson. And oddly enough his first mate is actually his 17-year-old grandson. And oddly enough his first mate is actually his 17-year-old grandson. Yeah, and oddly enough his first mate, this guy told Little Critter that his first mate is actually his 17-year-old grandson. Yeah. And one time he and this guy and this retired cruise ship VHF radio operator and his 17-year-old grandson were up on the deck of his yacht, of his yacht. And one time that they were sailing around the Caribbean. One time at Christmas, they did a Christmas and New Year's. They did a Christmas and New Year's sailing, and this guy and his 17-year-old grandson did a cruise ship. This guy and his daughter and his 17-year-old grandson did a Christmas and New Year's. This guy and I mean his well yeah, because I know that yeah, because I mean this guy's grandson, who's now this retired cruise ship operator, this cruise ship radio operator's grandson, who's now 18, but at the time this guy's grandson was 17, but he's 18 now. But this was just recently. But last week they decided to do a Thanksgiving cruise in the Bahamas. They decided to do a yacht. A yacht. They decided to go. This guy and this retired cruise ship radio operator and his daughter and his 18-year-old grandson decided to go on a Thanksgiving yacht cruise in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the U.S. and to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And this was like the second day. This was one of their sea days, right? And basically, the grandson claimed that the 18-year-old grandson claimed that basically he saw this, he was manning the helm, right? And all of a sudden he sees this, he was looking at the underwater sonar, right? At the underwater radar to see what was beneath them, right? and he looks at one corner of it and sees this massive, and I mean just massive, this massive, um, just like massive, like image of something that he called his grandpa to the deck, and they were just looking at it and just in just astonishment, and they couldn't explain what it was, but they knew it had to be something huge. They knew it couldn't have been a whale, and they knew it couldn't have been like any species of whale, and they knew it couldn't have been any species of shark, and they knew it couldn't have been a school of fish. And so the only explanation they had was that it had to have been a surviving megalodon. I mean, for this retired cruise ship radio operator and his 18-year-old grandson, that was the only rational explanation they had, was that what they were looking at was a surviving megalodon. And what was so interesting is this guy actually took a screenshot of it, and this retired cruise ship radio operator and his grandson made a screenshot of it and sent it to Little Critter. And when Little Critter saw it, he had no explanation for what it was, other than it being like, surviving megalodon. And so now I'm literally left to wonder, are there literally, surviving, are creatures that we literally thought went extinct long ago, literally surviving in the present day undetected? And honestly, I'm starting to see that it's a very good possibility that a lot of creatures that I mean, for me, it's not out of the realm of possibility that creatures that we thought went extinct long ago could literally be surviving that for me, it's literally not out of the realm of possibility that creatures that archaeologists and historians thought went extinct long ago could literally be alive and well in the present day. For me, I see it as I see it as a good possibility that there are some prehistoric creature that I see it as a possibility that there are indeed some prehistoric creatures that have survived. For me, I see it. There are some prehistoric creatures that have survived. That there are some prehistoric creatures that did go extinct long ago that possibly have survived to the present day. I mean, for me, I see it as a very good possibility that there are some ancient and prehistoric creatures that scientists thought went extinct long ago that may have actually survived to the present day. I'm just saying, I just see it. The way I see it, what if what we were taught in school is not entirely accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just assume that what we were taught in school is not the whole truth, is not the 100% truth. And in some ways, you have to look at it this way, okay? You have to look at it this way, okay? What we were taught in school, what we were taught in history textbooks in school might seem like the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, but in my opinion, that's just not entirely, that's just not an accurate representation. To me, what we learn in the history textbooks in school, at least in the public schools today, to me, is, in my opinion, not the 100% truth, okay? So, and that's just the stuff we learn about ancient history. Yeah, and again, that's just the stuff we learn we are taught about our ancient past. Because, if you think about it, if you think about it, let's just assume that, people have often said, some scientists have often said there could literally be creatures out there, like ancient creatures, like prehistoric creatures, like ancient and prehistoric creatures in particular, that may have survived extinction, that we think went extinct long ago, that may have survived to the present day. Did you ever, think about that? Because honestly, I didn't even think about that until just recently. I never even considered that I didn't even consider that until, just recently. I never even considered the possibility that some prehistoric creatures may have survived, that some ancient prehistoric creatures that are known to science, that maybe a small, and again, I'm talking maybe 5 or 10% of all that, and again, I'm talking maybe 5 or 10% of all ancient and prehistoric creatures that we believe went extinct long ago may have survived to the present day. And again, that's not all ancient and prehistoric creatures. I'm only talking about a small 10% of all prehistoric. I'm only talking about a small 10% of all prehistoric creatures that we know today that could have survived extinction and made it to the present day by some way, somehow. Now, that's not to say it didn't happen, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, I see it as a good possibility. But again, that's not all prehistoric creatures. I'm only talking about I'm only talking about 10% of all the prehistoric creatures that have been named. Like, of all the prehistoric creatures that have been named, of all like the ancient and prehistoric creatures that have been named by scientists, I'm only talking about like 10% of those. Like, the way I see it that like 10% of those ancient and prehistoric creatures could have managed to survive to the present day and could still be alive in the present day some way and could have somehow survived extinction and made it to the present day undetected in various parts of the various unexplored in the various remote unexplored uncharted regions of the world. I mean, who's not to say? Who's not to say there's, who's not to say that there are indeed surviving prehistoric creatures living in uncharted, undiscovered regions of the world. I mean, for me, like, I just see it as a good possibility. Just think about it, bro. Out of all the places in the world, out of all the places on planet Earth that have never even been explored, you would just have to think that somewhere there's ancient species there's ancient there's ancient creatures, there's just ancient creatures that have just managed to survive into the present day. There's just, let's just think about it. Just think about it for once. Just think of it. You have to consider the fact that out of all the uninhabited places in the world, you would just have to think that some ancient creatures that we believe went extinct, eons ago, have literally survived to the present, have literally survived and made it into the present day. Now, that's not to say it hasn't happened, but you never know. Because, there's a lot of places in this world, there's a lot of places because let's just admit it right now. Let's just admit it right now. There are a lot of places on planet Earth that have just never been explored by humans. So it kind of makes you wonder whether there are, there are long lost species that may have survived extinction into the present day. So, for me, I just see it that, I'm very open-minded. I look at, with stuff like that, I tend to look at stuff like that with an open mind. And I always think outside the box. Because that's just how I am, With stuff like that, I always, you know, I always, always look at stuff like that with an open mind. And I always think outside the box. Yeah, like I've said before, think out when you're thinking of stuff like when you're considering stuff like this, like the stuff I'm saying right now, think outside the box. You know, the one thing I always do when I'm considering stuff like this is I always think outside the box. I always look at stuff with an open mind, and I always think outside the box. Because I'm a very open-minded person, and I'm always considering the fact that perhaps there are, that perhaps that in all I'm always considering the fact that in all the unexplored places of our planet there are literally creatures that we thought went extinct long ago that could have literally that there are literally creatures that we thought went extinct long ago that could have literally survived to the present day. I mean, that's just how I think. That's just like, I mean, as a free thinker, as an open-minded person, that's just how I think. I'm a very open-minded person, and I tend to think outside the box. I mean, suppose one day we develop a technology to chart parts of the world we were never really able to chart. Suppose we discover, I mean, the one thing I'm always asking myself is the one thing I'm always kind of I'm always asking myself is the one thing I'm always really kind of the one thing I'm always really just kind of asking myself is I mean, honestly, the one thing I'm just really kind of I always ask myself is why haven't we explored further? You know, why is it that we haven't explored further? Why haven't we taken that one leap? And why haven't we made that one leap to explore further? And really, really try and to really try to explore that one far off place. Why haven't we made? Why haven't we? Why is it that mankind really hasn't tried to make a consolidated effort to explore parts of planet Earth that are uncharted? You know, that's the one big question I'm always asking myself. But I know, but I'm always certain it's gonna happen one day. It's just gonna be a matter of time for before someone funds gets the funding for it. Right? Well, I know it's gonna happen. I'm certain of it. I know it's gonna happen. I'm just certain of it. I'm certain it's gonna that these like the conditions like these, the remote parts of the earth are gonna happen. To me, I just feel like it's just a matter of time before someone begins to find against me. Question is, you know, will we ever get to see that day coming? You know, question is, will we ever get to see that day actually come? But you know, at every great sacred, you know, I might not be the brightest person, but I do even know. You know, not all energy is coming. But I know, I know the truth is out there somewhere. But I just know the truth is out there, bro. Yeah. Anyway, Reggie went off today. Yeah, Reggie was going off today. Yeah, first he stole Yoon's chips, and then when Yoon went to get him back, he attacked Yoon, and then he attacked he attacked China. He attacked Miss China, and then he actually tried to kick Miss China. I mean, he hit Miss China first, and he tried to kick her, and yeah, yeah, Reggie is gonna get kicked out ultimately. I just know he is. just a matter of time before Brandon and James throw that dude out. I mean, they already got rid of Miss Liz. I know they got rid of Miss Liz. So she was always harassing me about moving out, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. Yeah, and like, yeah, I mean, Miss Liz, like, how could you like do that shit to me and expect me to react a certain way? Like, how could Miss Liz say shit like that to me and expect me to do shit for her? I don't respond to shit like that. It's like Miss Liz was just pushing my buttons. I know she was. I know Miss Liz was pushing my buttons. She was. Trust me, trust me, if you wanna be rude, I'll show you rude. Trust me, if you wanna be rude, I'll show you rude. Trust me, if you wanna be ugly to me, I'll show you ugly. Yeah, all Miss Liz was doing was just being ugly to me. Brandon and Jason just need to get rid of Miss Liz and just need to fire Liz's ass. Yeah, because Miss Liz knows what she did wrong. Yeah, Miss Liz fucking knows what she did wrong. Yeah, I'm glad Miss Liz is not there anymore. Yeah, I'm just glad Miss Liz is not there. I'm just fucking glad Miss Liz is not there. So fucking glad. So fucking glad Miss Liz is not there. So fucking glad Miss So fucking glad Miss Liz is not there. No, like, this was such a Miss Liz was an asshole. I know, right? Miss Liz was an asshole. Miss Liz was an asshole. I know. Miss Liz was an asshole. No. Miss Liz was Miss Liz was an asshole. Yeah, no. Miss Liz was an asshole. I just am feeling a lot better knowing. At least I feel safer knowing this Liz is not here anymore. Because at least I don't get harassed I don't get harassed all the time. Because at least I don't get harassed all the time. And at least I'm not constantly getting harassed every day. Well, at least I'm not getting harassed all the time. And well, at least I'm not, it's better, at least it's better than getting harassed all the time. Well, at least it's getting better, it's better than just constantly getting harassed. Well, at least it's better than constantly getting harassed. Well, at least it's better than me constantly getting harassed by some ignorant motherfucker. Because I know Miss Liz was fucking ignorant. She was just ungrateful. She just didn't even want me. I don't think Miss Liz even wanted me in the first place. I was glad to see her ass go. I was glad to see Miss Liz go. Trust me, I was glad to see Miss Liz go. I couldn't stand her ass. I couldn't stand Miss Liz. I was going to sit around and let Miss Liz harass me. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. Not on my watch, at least. It wasn't going to happen, bro. I was not about to sit around and get harassed. I wasn't about to sit around and get harassed. I wasn't about to sit down like get harassed by Miss Liz. Yeah, I wasn't about to motherfucking sit around and get harassed by Miss Liz. I'm just glad it's finally over. And my ordeal with Miss Liz is finally over. I'm glad my ordeal is finally over. There's only one of us asleep here. Go! Only one of us asleep here. Whereas, yeah, see, that's the thing is like, Yoon wasn't even doing nothing to Reggie. It was Reggie who stole Yoon's chips. It was Reggie who stole Yoon's chips. Yeah, it was Reggie who stole Yoon's chips. It was Reggie who stole Yoon's chips. And then Yoon went to go get it to try to get her chips back from Reggie, and then Reggie just attacked Yoon out of the blue for no reason. Yeah, and like, see, Yoon wasn't even doing nothing to Reggie. It's like Reggie just attacked, like, Yoon went to get it, Reggie stole Yoon's chips, and Yoon went to get her chips, and then Reggie just attacked Yoon out of the blue and for no reason. Yeah, that's what I always tell myself. I tell myself, yeah, because like I always tell myself, you know, honestly, you know, I tell myself, but I'm working. I know I can make money, probably. I know I can make money doing it. I know I can make money doing it. I know I can make good money doing it. Just gotta do it a good train of thought, and I'll make it. I just gotta get a good train of thought. Um, just gotta give it all I got, and I'll succeed. What? 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 He's calling me! I can't reach it! Stop calling me! Come on! Hello? Damn it! What? God! Stop calling!
Jacob,
Hello?
hey Jacob.
What?
So you called the office today? You're in the village?
Well, I didn't know you weren't calling. Why you weren't answering?
You know what happens sometimes, Jacob. The phone gets turned off accidentally.
Alright.
It's the city glitch here. You know, if I don't answer to the phone, don't call the Eureka Village complex office. They don't know where I am.
Alright.
Okay, just be chill.
Alright.
I'm
Alright.
here
Alright.
for you all day. I was here, this afternoon.
Alright. Alright,
So,
Deb.
okay, I just wanted to make sure. Did you get your money?
Yeah, I did. Bye bye.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Let's see if we can download fourth flight on my iPad, okay? Yes, App Store, fourth flight. Hmm. I got four flight. ever discovered. However, due to the gas zone. So we had to go back to Seattle. Seriously? Come on.